Hello garden friends, welcome to the Yarden. I'm David Sabio. A few of you may already know me through my Instagram posts where I've put lots of pics of the garden that you see around me. Also some cat pics and artwork, but mainly the garden. A few others of you may know me from Brie Arthur. She goes by Brie the Plant Lady. She's done a few video tours out here and posted it on her page, and I hear they're fairly popular. And with that, I kind of got word that I should be doing these videos myself, and so here I am going to give it a shot. I hope you enjoy it, and if you'll bear with me as I undertake this endeavor. And so over the past few weeks, as spring has erupted in the garden, I have done some video footage, but Brie recently came out again and did a series of video garden tours. And to keep it from being redundant, I'm going to kind of scrap most of that stuff, but there's plenty going on around me now, as you can see. And actually, it's one of those exciting times for me as well because a lot of the clematis are in bloom. And I'm a big clematis geek, along with the Japanese maples. As the garden has gotten full, I am always looking for a place to put another plant. And I know you know there's always room. However, space is at a premium. But I find that clematis are easy to kind of tuck in. They run these deep roots, they get established, and they'll kind of climb and scurry around the other plants. So the need for space is not so important. And so there's a lot in bloom now. We'll walk around here in a little bit and look at some of the ones that are really putting on a show, those that are kind of special to me, and just ideas of how to use them and integrate them with your other plants. Because you don't always want or need a trellis, and just see how they light up the garden in ways maybe you didn't expect. So here behind me we have one that I will say is probably one of my kind of favorites, if I could even identify one. But this one is Thyrus Lund, or Theos Lund. I purchased this a few years ago. Like a lot of them, it takes a couple years really to get going. But she's been doing quite wonderfully now. She scrambles up this Hinoki cypress. Got a nice lavender color with very, very pointed sepals. This bloom also typically will be a double bloom. But sometimes I get the single flowers. It could be the second flush that I see it, although I usually expect that to be the inverse, where I get the full feature in the first flush and start to see sort of diminished subsequent flushes, although it's still beautiful. And as is right now, I've got only, looks like single blooms, but there's no complaining. Ooh, so coming up here, not quite fully open yet, we have Mantina, which really looks amazing in this Deutzia Chardonnay Pearls, which still looks lovely, even though some of the flowers are starting to brown. But this is a very, very fluffy bloom, if you will. We'll probably see this completely open by the early next week. Okay, so here, this is one of those happy accidents. This is Mrs. N Thompson, which took me a little while to identify because I was unsure, because this was a $1 purchase from Lowe's years ago. Honestly, I probably planted it too early because it was so tiny, but she hung on, managed to grow, and scrambles through this area, which works out perfectly, predominantly over this silver lock fir. And that is just a striking compliment. Okay, now turning around, the sun's pretty high and hot right now, but this shouldn't be too bad. This is First Lady with the Elsa Louise rhododendron azalea. She's been in the ground for a few years and has these beautiful, beautiful large blooms with the ruffled edges, a nice soft blue lavender, kind of purple stamens. Oh, and if we can peek a little further, that dark purple bloom there is actually the President. It is a younger vine being put in only a couple seasons ago, but look, gonna bloom up here. So these scramble through this shore juniper, garnet maple, Shii yatsubusa, and azalea, and just look fantastic. And I figure as the President gets stronger, I mean, it just makes sense to put the President and the First Lady together, right? I will have complementary blooms, sort of that monochromatic complement with the dark purple and the light purple. I mean, I'm already happy with this, but this only promises to get better. So here, this is Yuan. This is part of that Boulevard series where they're a little more compact, not quite as tall, although I would still expect several feet out of this if I wanted it to, but I'm going to grow it here in a pot for a while. Looks really good with this October moon. Probably look a little better when the light goes down. Very floriferous. And so backing out about where I started, I realized we have Dr. Rupel going up this trellis here on this pass through. And then I have a volunteer here, no blooms yet. I have a feeling this might be from H.F. Young. We'll see. I'll take it. Oh, and then over this white pine, this is another one of those dollar saviors from the big box store. I am unsure what this one is at the moment. I do like knowing what's in the garden, but sometimes you just take what you got and you love it. I mean, imagine when this gets stronger and these blooms are all over this light blue-green foliage. Oh, and then down here, you can see there's a little heat on it right now with the direct sun, is Bourbon over this western pine. And if you're wondering what all the little white flakes are, this is spring fleecing Fringe Tree, which is now starting to shed its fringy flowers. This goes from a beautiful white cloud to a few days of a snowstorm in spring, and it sort of decorates all the plants below. It's actually a nice effect. So here's one that some of you may remember from my talk with Brie. This is pink champagne growing through little honey hydrangea, and that deep hot purple against this golden bright yellow looks really nice. However, I do notice a little problem, or potential problem. You see these little blooms? That's not really normal. There's another one right there. That sort of suggests maybe disease, but this is not wilt. This would probably be a pathogen maybe it's the green petal. Again, I'm not a clematis expert. I just love to experiment. I will surely probably become more versed in the problems because I am dealing with them constantly. I mean, if you have a garden, you're going to. I'm not really liking this. I may have to cut this out, but this is promising. I mean, I'm hoping I don't have to kill the whole plant. That would really be sad. But I do have what looks to be some really nice, strong, fresh vines here. So hopefully those will produce the more typical 4-inch bloom. We'll wait to see about that. But I hope that's a little bit of insight to potential garden problems. So we'll just move along. Oh, as we come to this front patio, I have several pots here of clematis that these also are part of that Boulevard series, so they're a little more compact, but very floriferous. Got lots of blooms coming here. That's going to be amazing. This is Tranquility. And this one is Issy. You can see a few blooms have been spent. I will probably deadhead those and experiment with reblooming. Essentially what I'll do is clip the little seed heads off and toss a little rose tone in there. I liked how this came together. This is Bernardine. It's got that really, really soft blue. And I put it in this soft blue pot. Again, that sort of monochromatic complement. Oh, lots of blooms coming. Definitely not going to be disappointed here. Oh, and back there we have Nubia. Pretty deep red. This one must have just opened. Lots of blooms here too. Wow. I'm definitely going to have a show around the patio here. I wonder if I can sit here long enough to enjoy it. And swinging over real quick. Oh, this one's a darling. This is Bijou. Doesn't really want to climb, scrambles. Even if it wanted to climb, probably blooms too quick. And so it runs through this red salvia. Got some more coming. I've had a few years where the salvia is already very much in bloom and you get this purple and red color play, which is just so wonderful to see. Well, there we have a Hyde Hall. I have several of these. I rescued these from another nursery too that had them marked down. I figure we'll find a place for them. Backing out a little bit. This is Still Waters. This is another very, very beautiful clematis. I am happy to see some blooms here. I will admit this one just got hit with some wilt recently. They were going up these little wires here, and I went ahead and clipped it out, which you should do. If you notice wilt, go ahead and clip it out and save your plant. I find if the plant's healthy, especially at the root base, the vine will recover and you'll see future seasons. Fortunately, I have one bloom to show you right now, but I sure do love it. So here again, this is Thyrus Lund. This is actually the double bloom that typically comes. And I think this is because this is the old wood. There's one that's about to open. So that may be the difference. Here we are at Thyrus Lund again, and you can see this amazing color, very, very pointed sepals. I really do like this one. I cannot wait until it goes hopefully close to the top of this. In the evening when you have this purple against the red of Rhode Island red behind it, and the deep green as a backdrop support, it's awesome. So here, this is one I've been struggling with a little bit, but this is looking good. This is the bell of Vulg. Look at all those layers. So it is planted beneath this yew and carex. And this is all new growth here, but I'm gonna go ahead and scale up. I had one little vine from the past couple of seasons where it has been trying to get above some of the plants. It finally got tall enough, and I noticed this winter it was long enough, and I ran it and set it into the branches of this Seju little leaf elm. And wow, look at that. So these up top, which is also the older vine, certainly seem a little bigger. I would expect that. But as that goes further up in the tree, you couldn't ask for a better decoration. Here, anyone here in the Piedmont, Southeast, you have to grow Arabella. She's a scrambler. She blooms all summer long. It's nice, beautiful, purpley indigo bloom, yellow centers. She just keeps sending out runners. I think she will cover the whole corner of this bed, which there, you can see there in the background, we're doing some changes. Look at all that potential. That's fun. So anyway, Arabella, definitely one I would recommend to have. Doesn't climb though, just let her scramble around and enjoy. Again, kind of fading. This is Hyde Hall, which is running through this autumn starburst azalea, which is one of my favorite azaleas. Oh, but also going up this Cryptomeria. Okay. Well, we're going to decorate a whole bunch of other plants with this one. Fairly vigorous vine. I mean, these have only been in the ground for a couple of seasons, and it's nice to see vines running in several directions. Although I do see another problem here, which is probably worth mentioning. I believe this looks like wilt. So I will need to cut this out. It's possible it's just a broken branch from being windy and it being around a branch kind of got snapped. But at this point I don't expect any production off of this. And to be safe, I will cut that out. Come down the driveway here. This is sugar candy. Very big bloom. Light pink sepals, darker pink bar down the middle. I love the way it looks against the Carolina sapphire. So I get lots of vines running off of this one. I hope to totally fill this trellis eventually. Ooh, what's this? Actually, I know what it is. This is Angelique. I actually don't know if she's a scrambler or a climber. She's been here for years, has never climbed up anything, even when I had a small trellis here. But she seems just as happy here, crawling through all these other plants. She is a lovely, lovely light violet. God, look at some of these bloom heads. She's another good one, and I have to tell you, she's been in bloom for at least a month now and still have all these coming. I would highly recommend this. This spot too is certainly part shade. She doesn't require a whole lot of sun, and that's nice because I don't have a whole lot of sun throughout the property. Probably even enjoys a little bit of a break from the summer heat anyway. That will come on here soon. And then real quick, got a few that I transplanted to fill this trellis on the mailbox. I did used to grow sweet autumn clematis. I do still like it. But yes, it can seed pretty badly, which wasn't really a huge issue here because the street is right here. But I did take it out. Plus it was so vigorous it just kept collapsing over the mailbox, and I didn't want a 10-foot trellis here. So I have put several varieties in here. It'd be nice if they all took. I also anticipated they might not, so even if one does, it should be okay. But right now it looks like the 3 that I stuck here, well, they're all up here right now, so that's promising. We'll see what happens with these. We'll revisit that eventually. Okay, so this is a nice surprise. This is Rosemore Gardini. Did not bloom at all last year, and the vine looked kind of weak, but in fact I thought I might have lost it. I only see a few blooms here, but looks nice here in the Venetian Japanese maple, which was always the intention, and does bloom with this part shade. And oh, but there's some more vines there. Okay, this one's healthy. I know I sound like I'm all over the place. I get excited still. Oh, there's even a bloom coming down there. So anyway, very dark, like magenta, pretty large face, whitish yellow center. Which is interesting because you can see on these leaves, they're kind of variegated too, kind of a dark leaf with a creamier margin. Some of it's hardening off for summer, so not quite as bright, but it's actually kind of complementary too. Oh, here we go. This is Josephine. If you remember from one of Brie's videos, I also grow this in the upper back woodland that is open with no water, lots of western sun. This is another one I would certainly recommend. She usually flushes at least a couple of times fairly reliably, and I think that's even without me experimenting, trying to get the blooms. So right ahead, I said I would revisit this. This is Josephine. So this is one of those areas in the garden that gets a pretty good amount of sunlight. We're just at a point before it breaks over the tree line. But Josephine likes the heat. She scrambles around this variegated holly, the goshiki. Just what a wonderful look. Oh, it even looks like she's scrambling here to this tree peony. Well, that's going to look great. Kind of breathe some life back into that plant, seeing it blooms in such early spring. But yeah, Josephine, she is a champ. Definitely a recommendation for the southern garden. Look at that fluffy center. Oh my goodness. Wow, what an enjoyable clematis. Oh, here we go. Actually, it might be better if I go from the top. Give me a second as we make our way. This This is Samaritan Joe. She's just now opening. Another one of my unique favorites. The white sepals with the purple picotee staining on the edges. Purple stamens tipped with yellow. She climbs up here at the corner of the deck, almost as if to peek up over and say hello. She's sort of my coffee mate in the morning sometimes. And you can see lots of blooms coming. I really do love this one. Also, I'd say quite shady, mostly shady a good part of the time. So keep that in mind. And here, if you remember, this is my Flame Nishiki tree peony. It's about 3 feet tall. It's done blooming. You may have seen that in Brie's video. But to sort of breathe life into this, I have Saison running through here. And Saison is also part of the Boulevard series, I believe. So quite vigorous, but not too tall. You can see scrambling all through here. Oh, lots of blooms still waiting to come. The little jester hat seeds of the peony. Just a wonderful little clematis. Soft purple against the still fairly glaucous leaves of the tree peony. Oh, we got buds down here. Here is Gladys Picard. This is one of the first vines I ever put in, and that's why it's so strong and vigorous. There's lots that come out the base. She scrambles through this Gardenia radicans. Oh, behind it, if you'll give me a minute. Sorry, Mr. Spider, I'm going to have to break your web. This is Wildfire. Still fairly young, but you can see there's a whole nother vine. As it gets established, a little more vigor. Large, dark purple bloom with the even darker bar. That's probably 6-7 inches. Can't forget Rebecca. Rebecca was my nemesis for a while. This is my third try with her. I don't know why I was so determined to make sure she made it. But I tried a third time, and I guess the third time's the charm. Here she is. The end of the driveway. Can't miss it each time I come home. Kind of a deep red, probably redder towards when the light is low. You get a little more of that hot fuchsia magenta when the light's on. But she's wonderful. She is beautiful. Well, I think we covered a good amount of clematis today. There's plenty more scrambling about, those that are just coming up, some of the Texensis ones that'll do their thing in the summer, and we can revisit them for sure. But I certainly hope this first tour around the Yarden was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I hope it was a good experience for you and as we move forward on this venture. And thanks for coming along. Please let me know your thoughts. Give me some feedback. And until next time, I'll see you in the garden.